Great. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I am James Haskell, along with my co-host tonight. We said we had a surprise for you guys. DK in the building. DK, how are you doing, man?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for the invite. Glad to be on. Great to chat with you about Ravens.
Absolutely. Look, Glenn decided he wasn't a Ravens fan anymore. It's just that
What's up
simple.
with that?
Hey, he's now a
Wow.
fan of the Steelers or something like that. No, I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. Glenn is going to be joining us later, guys. He's handling business, and he'll be on in the later half of the show to give his, he's got to defend his crown when it comes to over under, and he's got to try and keep his streak alive. So he's going to be
Man,
here to defend his crown.
he will absolutely. I mean, he is so hyped about. He was so hyped about that win last week or the past weekend, and he will not want to miss it this time around.
No, absolutely not. I'm looking forward to it. So we're glad you guys tuned in with us. It's crazy, DK, that it's already game day, like tomorrow. Tomorrow's game day.
That's right. That's right. I mean, it's a quick week.
Yeah, dude. Before we get into it, and as you guys know in these preview shows, we talk about injuries, who's going to be there. We talk about the stats. We talk about the matchups, offense and defense, and then defense and offense on the other side, and out. Our breakout players, all kinds of stuff. But DK, I want to ask you this real quick. What's your take on the narrative behind the raised level of concern with a short week? Going into a Thursday game, are you any more concerned about us getting out healthy in comparison to a normal week?
I mean, we've been struggling with health all year, so I don't really think it's that big of a deal. And my whole take with that is that a lot of analysts talk about how, and I'm sure it is a physically taxing deal to play, less than 7 days apart. But the other side of it too is if you've got momentum, I mean, that's something to ride. I'm thinking about guys who played well last week, Rashad Bateman and other guys who are feeling good about themselves. And so it's a chance for them to pick it up, earlier than others. And so they can get back on and, prove what they've got. And I think they'd be excited to play. So I think that also factors into it.
Absolutely. I mean, think about the idea of coming off or getting 2 victories in 5 days and having 10 days off.
Yeah,
I think that's a pretty good deal as long as we can come out of this 2-0. Of course, as you guys know, we are previewing the Baltimore Ravens and Miami Dolphins. And for those of you that are still hopping on, DK is in the building with us tonight. Really excited to break it down. Something that you guys might not know about DK is that of the 3 on the show, he is certainly the deepest thinker. So when you want really thought out conclusions, don't go to me, don't go to Glenn, go to DK, and then he'll give you the answers. So I'm like I said, I'm super glad you're here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. The only issue with that is it takes me time to develop those responses, and you guys are quick-witted. I'm not as quick-witted as you guys are, and that's why it's more entertaining to watch you guys.
Well, we'll certainly put your quick-wittedness to the test tonight, DK.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
That's right. So let's get right into it, into the injury report. We'll talk about, of course, as always, who's going to be on the field, who's banged up. I know you got something queued up that we can put up here on the screen to go over both teams. So as a theme, the Dolphins are healthier than us. I mean, every team is healthier than us. The one thing I will say, and I know you're going to talk about our injury report, I'll talk about theirs. One thing I will say about ours, though, is that we have a lot of guys that while on the list, we are hoping to that they will be in the game. And as a sidebar, Lisa, you're only rooting for Glenn here. What's up with this, Lisa? No love for me and DK. You're just riding with Glenn,
Hey, it sounds like she likes to cheer for the underdog, and that's cool. That's fine. That's always great.
Oh, fair enough. Well, you know what? If that's why, then that's fair. I'll take that. But as far as the Dolphins go, I mean, these guys look crazy healthy. Of the guys that are on the screen that you can see, Jerome Baker, Elijah Campbell, Brandon Jones, and Tua Tagovailoa, they were all either full participants or limited participants in practice. The only one that I think really is worth spending some time on, of course, is Tua, who's had the left finger injury. And DK, you had an interesting stat, in fact, that I'd like you to highlight here, and that's regarding Tua Tagovailoa and Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, absolutely. So, this will be interesting to see whether he plays or not. Jacoby Brissett has actually played more snaps throughout the course of the season than Tua. And so it'll be interesting to see, which way they go. But, the question is when you look at their stats too, Tua is a little bit better based on the stat sheet, but the question is if Tua is not 100%, is an 80% Tua as good as a 100% Jacoby Brissett? So that'll be the question. Brian Flores, I guess, has got to have an answer for that. But that's the single most important injury on their side to watch for sure.
Yeah, that's interesting stuff because look, guys, this is why DK is on the show. I would have not even known to or thought about looking at that, right? But it's crazy to think that Tua hasn't had a lot of snaps this year. He's had persistent injuries. And so, that's worth highlighting, knowing what his rhythm is like right now, knowing what his body physically feels like. Something to look out for. And I see you guys asking in the chat. So Glenn is taking care of some business. And then he'll be hopping on later. He had a work commitment that he had to keep up with. So we're here for you guys, absolutely, and he will be joining later. But so that's as far as the Dolphins go. Looking healthy, looking good. It's looking like Tua's going to play. Now let's turn over and look at the Baltimore Ravens. DK, what do you got for us?
Yeah, so it's the same story as before. I mean, this list seems to not change throughout the year. It's kind of crazy. And I think what is positive, though, is most of the guys on this list are going to play. And outside of Latavius Murray and Patrick McCarry. So it looks like they're not going to play. So they didn't practice on Wednesday. And again, off of a short week, it's a little hard to get prepared. I mean, you've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and if you're not practicing, it's really hard to jump in and without practicing, say that you can play at 100%. So my guess is these guys are not going to play. Their list is doubtful. And then as well as Brandon Williams. So he's listed here as questionable, but he did not practice on Wednesday. Now he did practice early in the week, so we'll have to see, what that looks like for him. But all these other guys look like they're ready to go. So Nick Boyle is an interesting one because we've been waiting for his return, and he practiced all week on a limited basis. He's listed as questionable, but based off of what we've been hearing from Coach John Harbaugh, I think we're going to see some Nick Boyle. So that'll be really great. Also, Sammy Watkins was a full participant on Wednesday, and so we expect him to be back. Which, for the first time, Lamar Jackson's going to have his full arsenal of weapons in the wide receiver room, and so that's exciting. Also listed on our injury report was Tavon Young and Marquise Brown, but they did fully participate on Wednesday, so we expect them to play.
Yeah, and I'm with you 100%. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with this list. It seems to be the same guys over and over again, but hopefully we can finally narrow this list down and see guys like Nick Boyle. Obviously see Sammy come back, who was a full participant, and that's great to see. Brandon Williams' injury, I didn't think it would persist this long. I haven't heard much about it, and I wonder if the DNPs in there, or the limited in practice, I should say, had a lot to do with just him being a vet, or if they're trying to get him back. And of course, maybe today was just a vet thing, right?
Right. Look, we had a little bit of a scat going on, this conversation about where Brandon Williams was at, and I think that is, it's an interesting point because maybe, he's hiding some injury there that maybe we're not well aware of, and he's been nicked up and been less effective than what we've been expecting. So that's a possibility.
Yeah, guys, throw Brandon Williams a bone. Why don't you? Goodness gracious. So
you're talking to me. You're talking to me.
That's right. That is absolutely right. So yeah, so we know what the injuries are. I mean, the big names to look out for as far as returning players, like you said, are, to me, Sammy, Nick, and we'll see how the other ones play out. Obviously, Brandon Williams being one of them as well. But now that we know who's going to be on the field, pretty much a fully healthy Dolphins team, let's get into some stats here. What we're going to do first is we're going to break down the matchup between the Dolphins defense and the Ravens offense. And I'll start breaking down the Dolphins defense and give you some statistics. And then we'll go from there. So the Dolphins defense overall is 23rd. Their rush defense is 5th. And crazy enough, DK, their passing defense is 31st. And that's interesting to me because the two guys that I would highlight as far as defensive players to look out for are both their corners. They have a lot of money invested in Byron Jones and Xavier Howard. And they're both high profile, highly paid, well-known commodities. And so I thought that was an interesting stat. Definitely worth taking a look at here. Oh, you know what? I just did something. I just made a Freudian slip, DK. Actually, what I did was
opposite side of the ball.
I looked at the Ravens defense. Excuse me. So the Dolphins defense overall is 30th. Their defense against their rush defense is 32nd. Their pass defense really not much better, 23rd, and they're 28th in scoring. So they're a putrid defense. I mean, I think the Ravens should be able to handle these guys from a defensive standpoint. Let me give you some other stats here. They're allowing 27 points a game. They're also allowing, let's see, passing yards per game. They're allowing 280 and then 111 rushing yards per game. So not looking good for their defense, especially with the Baltimore Ravens offense coming in. But I certainly expected their pass defense to be a little better, especially with those corners. Now, DK, we talked about Howard and we talked about Jones. Talk to me about that Ravens offense, where we're at from a matchup standpoint in comparison to this defense.
Well, it's interesting because I think you're right. These corners are good. They're strong, and it'll definitely put the Ravens pass catchers to the test. But based on some of those stats, it's starting to sound like the edge might go to the Ravens receivers. I mean, Lamar has been making them look pretty good in the past couple of weeks. I mean, I say that as if it's on him, but I should give some credit to the receivers as well. I'm thinking about that crazy catch by Devin Duvernay. I mean, these guys are actually putting work in. So,
and even that catch by Rashad Bateman to snatch it from that DB when Lamar threw it across his body. I mean, that was an incredible catch as well.
Absolutely. And so, I think we have this. I personally have this bias, right? So when I think about the Ravens, I think ground and pound game. Passing is opportunistic, but actually that's been changing, and I have to kind of adjust my own viewpoint or the way that I see the Ravens offense, especially, and they're doing pretty well. So I think this is actually a matchup to watch, especially because the marquee names make it sound like the Dolphins have an edge here, but I think the stats show otherwise. So, I mean, I'm excited about this matchup. I'm definitely watching the receivers and where they kind of the advantage that they're gonna have against these guys. Wow, and it might be unexpected. So that's something we're definitely going to be watching throughout the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look at the Ravens offense overall, we're ranked second. This is crazy. I could be wrong, but this is on ESPN. We are now first in rushing.
That's
I think
right.
It has to do with that big game, right? Last week, obviously that helped. Crazy that this is the worst rushing attack we've had in 2 years, easily. Yeah. And we're still first in the league. Obviously, huge help to having Lamar Jackson. Passing, we're 8th, and scoring, we're 7th. So, man, it's going to be – a lot of people are saying in the comments, and it's quite possibly going to be the case. It could be a Jackson 5 this week.
It could be. I have to throw in an anecdote here. Well, it's not really an anecdote, but I was scrolling through social media, and I was looking at old clips. I think this was the NFL Instagram channel or whatever, but old clips of the Wildcat offense, which was really centered around the Miami Dolphins, who really kicked it off. I don't know how many years ago now. It was a while ago. But you had Ronnie Brown and Ricky Williams running around in the backfield. Ronnie Brown throwing some touchdowns from the back and, some flea flickers. It was interesting. And it just made me look at this like there's so many moving parts here, right? And part of that was the confusion. And it's almost as if you look at that and then, one would imagine man, what would this look like if you could pack all the skills all those different players are doing into a single player? Right. And that's what the Ravens have. That Wildcat offense from back in the day, set by the Miami Dolphins, and the Ravens now have a single player that can pull off any and all of what that offense pulled off together. So it's pretty amazing. Nope. Jimmy, can't hear you. You muted yourself.
Jeez, a whiz. I'm over here muted talking to myself. No, but I agree with you 100%. It's just absolutely insane to think about all the ways that Lamar Jackson can hurt you. And we kind of talked about this, but I want to add some credence to it. Lamar Jackson, the last time that he was in, oh, what is going on here? Hold on. Jeez, I got all kinds of crazy stuff going on my computer. The last time that he was in the Hard Rock Cafe, of course, he's come back home. Lamar Jackson won 59-10, as we remember. He was 19-24. Lamar Jackson absolutely destroyed the Dolphins. And then that matchup, Marquise Brown and Xavier Howard, is going to be a lot of fun to watch. It's going to be exciting to see what sort of, it's another litmus test for him, is the kind of the way that I see it, at least in my mind. So that's definitely going to be an interesting matchup there. Let's get to our breakout let's get to our keys to the game offensively. We talked about the matchup. We talked about who they have defensively and the matchup there. DK, what is your offensive key to the game if the Ravens want to come out with a victory?
Yeah, what I'm looking at, I'm wanting to see a balanced attack. This is a case where let's be straight about this. Like the Miami Dolphins are struggling, right?
Yeah.
So the one thing that I can say about the Ravens all year has been they have not put away sorry teams. For the teams that we've struggled all year, they've been wins, which is good, but we haven't put away these teams, and good teams are supposed to destroy bad teams. So there's a hesitation in myself to consider the Ravens like the top tier team, because they have this stuff on paper where they're not destroying terrible teams. So this is the Ravens' opportunity to do so. And I think the way to do that is for Lamar Jackson to come up with a balanced approach of passing and running, so that, and he just torch them all ways, right? So, we know that last time he did it, he completely tore up the Dolphins. And I think a similar performance would be absolutely a nail in the coffin for kind of putting them atop the AFC as the contender to beat. So yeah, and I think the balanced attack is a big deal.
And I understand your point, and I totally get the hesitancy. The craziest thing is that while the Ravens, it took a 66-yarder to beat the putrid and terrible Detroit Lions, and there's other examples of that throughout this year. The Bills, the Bills just lost to the Jags.
Yeah.
And put up 6 points in this high-powered, offense with God himself under center, right? Like, that's how people view it. It's like they consider him Jesus in football cleats. It's insane. Right. So I totally get your point, but it's crazy. My point is that the AFC has just been such a hodgepodge this year that it's really interesting to see. But my key to the game, DK, offensively, is score early. I don't care how you do it. I'm not going to be picky about it anymore. Of course, I would love a monotonous, methodical, slow simmer type, 10, 12 play drive to smash it in the end zone and take their will. I don't care how you do it now. Just start early. I don't want to see field goals. I don't want to see early penalties. I don't want to see lack of execution. Whatever you got to do, get it done early. And put these guys away, because if we can make them one-dimensional, this game is over. But I think that is the next progression for this year's Ravens team. And I know they can do it because with this pretty much the same, at least head coach, OC, and quarterback, they've had incredible starts. So it's there. They've just got to put it together. So that's my offensive key to the game. DK, who is your breakout player of the game from an offensive standpoint?
Look, you might call me a wishful thinker, but I really want to see more from Rashad Bateman. I think there's been a buzz, throughout the past couple of days since the last game against the Vikings about the potential for this guy. He had some crazy catches, and rightly so. That buzz really comes from being able to see the game, and he's making impact plays already. In his second, third game. So it'll be interesting to see how his role develops as the year goes on. One thing is for sure. I mean, he's definitely got the trust of Lamar Jackson right away, and that's exciting. So, but the other part is, Sammy Watkins will be back in the lineup. So, what does that do? Anyway, but I do think that Rashad Bateman is going to have an outsized role for a rookie in our offense, and he's going to have a big game. That's how I feel.
Yeah, man, that would be awesome. I love how he's fully embraced the Batman thing. He's got the chain now, and then he's also changed his profile picture to a Batman, to a bat symbol. So he's going hard in on Batman, and I think doing that is just another way for him to tie himself to the community. In that, I feel like it's kind of been coined since he's come here. It could have been something that was said before, but it's certainly gained popularity here. And him embracing that, I think, is really cool. But DK, I'm going to see your breakout player of the game from wide receiver perspective, and I'm going to raise to Hollywood Brown. Hollywood Brown, the last time he was there, he's going home. Him and Lamar are at home. They're ready to show out, ready to show the kids, from the neighborhood what they can do, be an example to them, like Lamar talked about in his presser. And if I'm not mistaken, Lamar said, of course, Hollywood's first catch in the NFL was a touchdown. I think his second catch as well was a touchdown, if I remember correctly. The first one was that slant, and the second one was the deep one.
The deep one, yep.
Wait, which one was first? Was the first one the deep one? I think the first one was the deep one. The second one was the slant.
You might be right on that, yeah.
But either way, I see an even better performance from Hollywood Brown in this game. I think he balls out.
Wow.
I'm looking at double-digit receptions. That's right.
Double digits.
Double-digit receptions.
Wow.
And 2 touchdowns for one Hollywood Brown. And I think part of the reason will be because he's at home. Guys are going to know, look, let's get him his. He's at home. Lamar's at home. Let them have their fun. I mean, as long as they're winning, right? Like, let them execute and do their thing, get them a little extra love. And get him the rock. I think guys are totally gonna understand. So I'm going Hollywood Brown, ladies and gentlemen. I can't wait to see it, man.
I like it. Hey, if they play anything like last time, then I mean it'll be a track race for them. So streaking down the field, catching balls and scoring touchdowns. So I mean I like it.
Yeah. So let me ask you this we're gonna get into the next matchup, and of course that is the Dolphins defense, the Dolphins offense against the Ravens defense. So before we do that, you said it. If I'm not mistaken, the Ravens' last game against the Dolphins was Brian Flores' first game as a head coach, right?
I'm pretty sure it was. I think you're right.
So if we act under that assumption and he sold out on the run and Lamar absolutely torched him, what do you see him doing in this game? Is he just like, if he had hair to lose, he'd probably be losing it right now from stress, right?
Well, I would say so. Here's the thing. I respect Brian Flores. I think he's a smart guy. Now that's not to say that he's been doing a great job this year, but I do think he's a smart guy. So I don't think he likes making the same mistake twice. So I don't think he's going to play us like he did last time. And certainly Lamar's proven that he's more than just a runner. And that was really his showcase game, right? Where he showed that's not true at all. And he took the league by storm that year. So I think what we're talking about is a coach that's going to bring a team that's going to do their best to try to defend both ways. Look, I think the Ravens should attack both ways. And so either way, Brian Flores is going to feel it. The Dolphins are definitely going to feel it, whether they try to really keep Lamar contained or they try to sit back and try to defend Lamar's passing. I think either way, they're at a disadvantage. So that's where I'm at.
Good luck to you, Dolphins. I mean, that's really all I got to say. But yeah, let's switch over now and let's go to the Ravens defense versus the Dolphins offense. And I'll kick this one off, DK, and talk about the Dolphins offense here. Let me give you guys some a brief overview. The Dolphins offense is not great. They are, oh geez whiz, I did it again. It doesn't matter. They're 30th overall, 32nd in rushing, and 23rd in passing. One of these days I'm going to get this right. And it's really not a good showing for the Dolphins. Now, of course, one guy to look out for is Jalen Waddle. Something to note, DK, is the Ravens have given up seven touchdown passes of 40 yards or more this season, 4 of them on the opening drive of a half. The Dolphins have been solid on opening drives of the first and third quarters this season. So certainly something to look out for. And that guy is a game breaker, Deshaun Jackson-esque, Hollywood Brown-esque in his speed. And we saw it in Alabama, even while he was, pun intended, waddling with an injured ankle. He was still burning people. So yeah, let's see. Let me give you some other stats here as far as the Dolphins go. Their offense is averaging only 17 points a game. Not the greatest, obviously. They're passing the ball for 222 yards a game, and they're running for a terrible 75 yards a game.
Wow.
So yeah, that not a great offense. But I think, the names to look out for: Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki, the tight end and security blanket to a Jalen Waddle, certainly would be the guys to look out for. Now let's get to Tim Ott real quick here.
Right.
DK, he says, sorry if I missed any talk of their D-line. With our questionable O-line, could it sneak up on us and cause the game to be close? I understand that point, and I talked about, I forgot his first name. What's his name? I have it right here. Used to play for the Browns a few years ago.
Agba.
Emmanuel Agba. I always thought he was an underrated and solid player. He's a DN, their nose tackle, Raekwon Davis. And then obviously they have Christian Wilkins. They also have the young guy. Is he still healthy? I believe he is. Went to Miami last year, Jalen something. We were looking at him with the Ravens. He had the head injury at UCLA, ended up going to Miami, and I believe he plays for the Dolphins now, right? Didn't he get drafted by them?
He did. I think you're talking about their first round pick.
No, that was Jalen Waddle. I guess they had more than one pick.
Jalen
Phillips.
Jalen Phillips. He was a second round pick. I believe it was a second round pick.
I think he was a first rounder, but he was their second first rounder.
Oh, their second first round.
Three last year. So either way, he's another guy to look out for.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that just to respond to Tim here, I think we have some experience under our belt to manage, leaks in our offensive line. And if there's any week to be concerned, I hope this is one of those weeks where it's less concerning, just because of who we're playing. Not to say that we should be underestimating the Dolphins, but I think we're going to be all right. Also, Lamar Jackson makes up for a lot of those blemishes, if you will. So I think we'll be all right for the game. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah, no, I'm with you too. I honestly, Glenn keeps giving me a hard time about predicting blowouts. You guys will see my prediction. I'm not coming off that. In fact, I said in our last show, I'm done predicting blowouts. I've convinced myself otherwise in a matter of 4 days. So yeah, Tim, I wouldn't be concerned. Our offensive line might be questionable, and that's a fair point. But Bradley Bozeman is arguably playing the best football of his career, and he's arguably the best center in the NFL. Alejandro Villanueva is solid, average, mediocre-ish, and Kevin Zeitler is a solid right guard. So I think we have enough to get it done this week. I wouldn't be concerned, Tim. Now, if it comes down to a nail biter, I didn't say otherwise. But I feel pretty good about that. So let's get to DK, some of the Ravens defensive stats. And then we'll get into our keys and things of that nature.
Sounds good. So by yards per game, we're sitting at 23rd in the league, and we're giving up 374 yards a game. Now, it's not maybe this is a weekly refrain, but it's not necessarily what we expect out of a Ravens defense. We've been extremely leaky, especially on the passing game.
Ooh, okay. Leaky sounds like my son's diaper.
Oh man. I mean, that's it's a good way to describe some of these corners that we have back there at times. So Certainly on certain plays. I know we've got studs, but they don't show up. We haven't been showing up in every game in every situation, and it's really been showing. So the stats say that we're 31st in the league in passing defense, giving up 282 yards a game. But we're a lot more stout on the run side. So in running defense, we're fifth in the league. So that's helpful. We're only giving up 92 yards a game. Now it balances out. I think there are teams that kind of go after us,
Yeah.
and I think the reason is, the stats don't show everything, but we play a certain style of defense that leans into naturally having a strong run defense. We go after the quarterback, and so you're gonna give up passing yards is a part and parcel to the type of aggressive defense that we play. So it's something to think about in terms of just reading off stats. It may seem like our corners are terrible, but that's actually not the case. I think our style is extremely aggressive, and we've been winning games, but based off of giving up some yards here and there. And I think
A little
that's where
bit
we're
of
at.
Russian roulette, hit or miss, right?
Exactly. And so, if you look by the standings, it works. If you're looking straight at the stats and the number of yards we're giving up, it does look not as pretty. But I mean, the results, are in the win-loss column. So from
There
that
you go.
standpoint, I can say, we're doing all right.
Yeah, I'm with you there. That's it. And look, once again, DK, this is why I was excited to have you on tonight, because that's the type of analysis but that's a great point, right? Like, to think about the fact that really stylistically we're all in type defense. And you're absolutely right, because we put so much pressure on our corners every single game.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of times when it's impossible schematically to mitigate the mistakes that they make. Right. So like one mistake
Right.
isn't covered up by a Chuck Clark, isn't covered up by a cover 3 defense, isn't covered up by a zone. I mean, we're saying, look, you're out there on an island, you make a mistake at 6, or we're getting to the quarterback, trying to rip his head off. Right.
Right.
So it's a high risk, high reward type scenario. And it seems like, while you're right, the win-loss column is working out, the defense isn't having their best year ever. They seem to be right more than they are wrong.
Absolutely.
Now, one thing I want to bring up, DK, really quickly, and I don't want to sidebar too much, but because I saw in the comment, of course, I have a bet with y'all that I will eat my microphone cover if Odafe Owe gets double-digit sacks. Odafe Owe has kind of disappeared a little bit lately.
A little bit.
What's your take? What do you think of it? And Glenn talked to me about this off air. He kind of brought this up, and so I started feeling a little good about it. I want him to play well. I want him to play well. Look, I'd rather eat my microphone cover if he's going to be a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? But I also wonder, do you think there's something there? Do you think, he's just not getting home? Like it's nothing to look into? What's your take there?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think he's still a rookie, and it's easier to start off hot than pick up steam late in the season, because no one has tape on you, right? And specifically, I mean, I kind of feel like he's learning how to generate sacks, on the spot, so there's not tape on. All right, this is how this guy plays, and his type of athleticism is really hard to defend. So,
yeah.
I think he'll continue to be he'll be spotty, right? You'll see some flashes. The question will be, will there be enough flash points throughout the season where he can eclipse that, that elusive double digit sack? So I'm not too worried about him as a player. I would like to see him step up a little bit in those key moments. That would be great. That would really kind of hit home the point that we really hit a home run on this draft pick. But at the same time, he needs time to develop. The issue I think we have is that we need guys to we need other guys to step up in those key moments, and it's a lot to expect a rookie to do all of it, and we don't, our pass rush is at times, definitely at key moments, left something to be desired. And so, it kind of it stands out when nobody's creating pressure. From that standpoint, it'd be great to see him step up, but I'm not too worried about him. He'll find his moments. But I personally think this game is one of those kind of benchmarks, where you look at it and you're like, if you're going to find a time to pressure the quarterback or make a name for yourself, like take a game like this and show that you're an elite athlete, make the other guy across from you, know it, and show out. And it's Thursday night, right? National audience. What a better time to do that? I mean, he did on that Sunday night against the Chiefs. So let's see it again.
Yeah, great, all great points, DK. I think it's going to be really interesting. But I agree with you on pretty much all what you're saying. But certainly, it's worth repeating. I'm not worried about him as a player either. I think the guy is contributing even when he's not showing up in the stat sheet. And heck, I mean, maybe if we look into the tape, a lot of these teams are bumping him, or putting another guy over there to help blocking. Putting a tight end over there to chip him, running away from him, rolling out away from him. Honestly, I haven't done that much analysis. Maybe that a lot of that is happening, and that's all a compliment to him. He'll evolve into still being able to have a profound impact based on those things. But Terrell Suggs was the last Raven to do this as a rookie. I'm feeling pretty good that as good as Odafe Owe will be, Terrell Suggs is a generational football player. And
For sure.
So anyway, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling high about this. But DK, what I want to know from you is, who is your defensive breakout player of the game?
All right. So I'm going to go a little bit boring here. Boring in the sense that I've actually gone the opposite side. So you said you're looking at blowouts now, but I'm starting to see a trend, and I'm going to bet on the trend, right? To me, the trend is that the Ravens keep the game close, regardless of the situation, whether they're playing good teams or bad teams, they end up, kind of meeting in the middle somewhere. And then in those games, I think it's guys that play, that have significant moments, but not huge impact plays that kind of change the game, end up being king. And this week I'm putting my bet on Tyus Bowser. He had a pretty good game last week. I liked how he played. In certain spots he made the right tackles and showed up. Again, it's not like he knocked somebody over, picked up the ball, and ran it in for a touchdown. But I'm not coming to expect that from him anymore. So
Right.
Not that I ever did, but I think I'm not foolish to think that he's going to do all of that. But
Right.
I mean, he has had his games where he picks his spots and makes a key tackle, pass, defends a pass here or there, and which kind of changes the nature of the game. And when you look back, you're like, actually, there weren't a ton of key, turning point plays, but he was at the center of a lot of them that made an impact. So I'm going to go with Tyus Bowser.
I like it. I like that. I think he is kind of in a sneaky fashion improving throughout this year. I think he's still getting better as a player and finding ways to be impactful throughout this defense. But I'm going to go with the old wily vet, and I'm going to go with Justin Houston. I think he smells blood in the water. I think he's been sitting at 99.5 since I believe before my son was born at this point. So look, he's ready to get there, and I think he smells blood in the water and an opportunity to do so. So I think he has 2.5 sacks.
2.5 sacks.
2.5
by
sacks.
Himself.
I think by himself. I think he beats the guy in front of him 2 times and gets home, and then I think another time be more like a trash time type thing, garbage time type thing, where he gets in there with a PQ or even an Odafe Owe or something like that. But I think he can beat the guy in front of him 2 times and get home. I think he's got enough left in the tank to do something of that nature. Honestly, let's remember he's only 32.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, he's only 32 years old. He's younger than Calais Campbell by a decent margin. So look, while he looks like he's been 40 for the past 20 years based on like the thick mustache and the no hair, you know what I mean? He could be 20 or 50 and we wouldn't know, right? So I think like I said, I think he smells blood in the water. He's a shark hunting Dolphins, and I don't think it's going to be too good for the guy in front of him. So I'm going with Justin Houston, 2.5 sacks out of our boy.
Putting yourself out there. I like it. All right. Man. I'm hoping the same. I mean, that'd be great to see that from Justin Houston. I mean, my thing with Justin Houston is I'm searching my memory banks for that last moment where he made some key play and I'm struggling a little bit to find that. And
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, I'm still waiting for it. Is my point. You know, I'm still waiting
Yeah.
for that time where his acquisition, his him being a Raven, really makes. I know he's working behind the scenes and teaching these young guys how to play as pass rushers. But I also want to see him, kind of ball out and show why they call him Yoda,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Maybe it's the way he looks. Maybe he's got big ears. I don't know. Maybe it's just
it's
that he's got big ears and a wrinkly forehead. I don't know. It could just be that,
just the
DK.
aesthetic. Yeah, it
You
could
know,
be.
no,
Could be.
I don't even know. But yeah, that's a great point. I understand. I totally agree with you. But this is yeah. So I think Justin gets 2.5. You guys look out. And look, this is the other thing I want to say. I'm in my feelings a little bit right now, DK.
Oh,
Because Glenn's getting all this love because he's not here. Glenn is okay. He will be here shortly. But I hope, because I've missed a couple shows. I hope that you guys show me this much love when I'm not around as well. All right. So just remember that your boy over here has got some feelings as well. Okay. And but no, Glenn is we're excited that he's gonna be coming back. He's fine. He's doing something for work, and then he'll be tuning in. So you guys hold on to your britches, like my grandpa used to say, and he'll be here soon. So he is
sure.
all good. Now, DK, the one thing that I really gotta know is how your wallet's doing these days, because our partner and the one that makes the show possible, Symbol, is ready to pad your pockets, right? Symbol is awesome, guys. I want to know in the chat. We've asked a few times. I haven't got too much feedback. Have any of you guys gone in and checked out Symbol yet? It is literally the stock market for sports. They actually just changed their user interface today. It's really cool. So you can go in and check it out. Look, I have serious money on the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm planning on winning. Look, this is the way you win, DK. You buy, just like the stock market, you buy low and you
Yeah.
sell high. Now, I understand that's one way you make money on the stock market, but you can also make money via dividends, right? And
True.
buying that stock that's less aggressive and more consistent in its returns. That to me is the way I view the
Good point.
Baltimore Ravens. And so the Baltimore Ravens, for example, are a perfect stock to me if you're looking to make money in the long term. Invest some money in the Ravens. You get 50 cents per win per share. So no matter what, if the Ravens win that week, you're making money. So get enough shares to where you're making money every week, and then give it a year, give it a few years, and look at your returns. Right, that's a really easy way to make some coin if you want to actually put your sports knowledge to the test and make some money with it. Why not check out Symbol, right? So I asked before, but I'll ask again. If any of you guys have started using it, take a look at it. You'll get $10 for free using the code 410 when you join. DK, how have you been enjoying it so far?
It's interesting. Like I was, sharing with you before the show. I'm one of those guys that. Thank you for building me up with my analysis powers, but I get analysis paralysis. Like I start to throw my money in there. I'm like, man, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. So I need to start making decisions and making moves. But I'm excited to jump into it and have fun, kind of looking at different teams and looking at long-term trajectories.
Absolutely. So speaking of long-term trajectory, I just want to throw something at you guys. I won't give you the exact figure that I threw in there, but if the Baltimore Ravens, and you guys can go do the math, but based on what I bought their stock at when I bought it and the amount of money I put in, if the Baltimore Ravens win 10 games per year for the next 5 years, I will make $5,200 in Symbol. All I'm saying is that's a thousand and change a year for Lamar Jackson scoring touchdowns. I feel pretty confident the Ravens are going to win 10 games a year, 50 wins over the next 4.5, or what did I say? What was the math? 5 years,
For the next
5.5 years, right? Like this season and then 4 and then 5 more. So I feel pretty good about that. So I'm just saying it's some real coin. There's some real money to be made out there. Check out Symbol. Like I said, get $10 on us at the 410 using that as the promo code. It's Symbol, SIMBULL, and .app/410 and use the promo code 410. That's right, J-Dub, the financial analyst. Look, you want to make some dollars. hang out with old Jimbo. He'll make you a couple bucks. But no, so anyway, go check him out. If you haven't done it, do so now or after the show, and make sure to use the 410 promo code. But DK, I know that you're only gracing us with your presence a few more minutes. So do you want to give your over-under predictions and score prediction before you bounce?
Yeah, I got about 10 minutes, so we can
right.
we can jump in
Get
there.
right into
we can
it.
jump in
So
there.
we're gonna go through and do yours, and then if Glenn hops in, him and I will do ours, and if he doesn't, I'll do mine after you. But I want to go through and do yours, and then do mine following that, if that works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's just jump into it. Our first over under is something I decided because I thought I was really excited about Rashad Bateman. So
Yeah.
we set his over under with his total from the last game. So actually, he had 52 receiving yards last game. So we figured, let's see if he's going to make an improvement from last game. So we set the over under at 52 and a half receiving yards. And on this one, I'm going to go over. I mean, he's my guy this game. And so, I'm expecting him to make strides. I understand that Sammy Watkins is coming back. I understand that, Hollywood Brown is balling out, but I think there's enough buzz, and maybe, Lamar Jackson's also feeling the chemistry that's starting to develop between the two and wanted to expand on it. So I'm going to go over on this one.
Hey, that's interesting. You know what? I'm not even going to wait. DK, we already disagree. I'm going under right here, DK.
Oh.
Now, I'm feeling a little nervous because you are the over-under king. And just so you guys know, if you don't already, this is our competition that's open to all you guys. You can DM us on Twitter to give us your answers, on Instagram or on Facebook, or you can leave your comments to this video after it is over. Leave your answers in the comments below. And of course, guys like Edwin and others have won, and they've got shirts sent out to them. And so, we've even had a few back-to-back winners. So certainly make sure you do that. But DK, I'm going under here. I know you're going over. One, because my guy is Hollywood Brown this game. Two, because just like you said, Sammy Watkins and even Nick Boyle's coming back. And now with Patrick Ricard becoming wide receiver number 3, I mean, who knows how many opportunities Rashad Bateman's going to get. There's so many weapons for Lamar Jackson to throw the ball to. So I'm going under in this one, DK. What's the next one?
Let me just say this one. Well, sorry, before we move on, one thing about Patrick Ricard. I love that guy, right? I love the guy because he is a secret weapon, right? Each week, you don't know what he's going to do, whether he's going to catch 2 touchdown passes or he's going to block the hell out of guys and add to the run game. So I think, I love the guy, but I don't see him scoring and catching a ton of balls every week is my point. But to jump into the next over under, last week we tallied the number of big passing plays that I guess Lamar would be a part of, and so there was 4 passing plays last week, and so we did the same thing. We set an over under on looking at pass plays that would go beyond what we did last week, and we put it at 4.5. Now, you just shared with us, where the passing defense is for the Dolphins. And so I feel pretty good about it, as Glenn sets up in our back room. I feel pretty good about it. And so I'm going to go over on this. I think Lamar, again, is going to have a great game passing and running. And he'll show out maybe something. I can't say that I'm going to, we're expecting a game that looked like the last Dolphins game, but
sure,
we're going to see some passes.
I like it. So you're going over then?
I'm going over.
Oh, excuse me.
It's the man himself.
What's going on, boys?
Hey, we're running through DK's over-unders here, and then we're gonna let him go. He has a previous engagement to attend to. But Glenn, glad you're here. Everyone was worried about you, Glenn.
I'm alive. I'm alive and well. Just had to do some late night work tonight, but glad I could make it before you guys were finished.
It is official that you are the more well-liked member of this duo. I am completely convinced at this point. They love you.
You got a lot of love.
I'm glad you're part of the squad, Glenn. Because
oh man, well, you guys are
get
gonna
all
make me
the love.
blush. Oh man.
But DK is going through his. He's in his second one here, and then what we'll do is we'll go through ours and we'll let him get to his engagement.
Oh, and by the way, when you guys were going over the over unders,
we mentioned that. Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure you mentioned that I am the reigning defending champion. Okay.
We glossed over it. I mean, we said something about it. We said something about it.
Yeah, we might have said a thing or two, but DK is going over on this one, right, DK?
That's right. So,
all right.
I'm expecting at least five of these long passes. So I'm looking forward to that.
So 2 overs. All right. So let's go to the defense, and let's. So we got forced turnovers is the next one here. It's set at 1.5. This can be a fumble or an interception. DK, where are you going, my man?
On this one, I think that this is the game. I'm still waiting for that game where the Ravens are going to heavily out turnover the other team, right? And so I think this is the game. This is the game where we start seeing some punch balls and some interceptions, and the Ravens start separating. So what I shared before was that we haven't had games where the Ravens had blown out terrible opponents, but I think you start to see the Ravens trending in that direction, and we'll start to see it here. And turnovers are the key to that. So I'm going to go over on this one.
Ooh, DK, 3 overs in a row. May I mention?
3 overs.
Sounds like a desperate man trying to get back on top. Sounds like a desperate man right here, just trying to take out the champ. You know what I mean?
Jeez, Louise.
Oh man.
All right, so last one for defense is defensive. Oh yeah, Dolphins quarterback over under completion percentage 65.6 or 0.5%. The reason we said Dolphins quarterback is because, as DK pointed out at the beginning, Jacoby Brissett has actually played more snaps this season than Tua. And so we don't really know who's going to be there or how long Tua is going to be out there or what the situation will be. So DK, where are you going? Over under on the completion percentage for the Dolphins quarterback, whether it's Tua, Jacoby, me, you, or Glenn, or whoever else they decide to call up.
So I think we may have set this a little too high, but I'm going to go under. I don't really have that much faith in the quarterbacks that the Miami Dolphins have.
This is Tua's season average.
So that's very interesting to me because I think their passing offense hasn't been super effective, and so the completion, maybe their completion percentage
it's probably
is
like
there,
2 yards of completion as well. If you look into it, it's probably my guess.
Yeah.
More for the Dolphins?
At the same time,
yeah, it's probably something terrible.
I think it's like 8 or 6.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
No,
it's
I think
like
actually, I looked. Yeah, it's like five or 6 per attempt or something between the two of them. But I do think the Ravens. I mean, what else is there to defend, right? I mean, we're not. I don't think the Ravens are too scared of their running attack, and so you go after the quarterback. This is why I think the turnovers. We'll see turnovers this week, just because the Ravens defense, when they can focus on a particular element of the other team, they're extremely effective. And I think this is the key. If you stop him from completing easy passes, then we've got him by the throat.
Yeah, nice. All right, DK. So you're going under then here.
I'm going under. That's right.
All right.
That's
so
right.
Give us your total yards for the Ravens and Dolphins combined, and your score there, man.
All right. So before I jump off, then I'll add my yards here. So again, this week we threw in the closest to the pin for total yards for the Ravens and the Dolphins. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go Glenn.
What happened? You notice the Price is Right strategy? What's going on, DK?
I'm going to go with 700 yards. All right. It's a round number. And I think it's underneath what you guys might predict. So I'm going to go with 700. I'm not expecting too many crazy yards. Maybe some of those yards are gained on returns. But I think that's where we're at, about 700 on this one.
All right. And then DK, what do you got? What do you got for your final score? What is your prediction for the outcome of this game?
Sure. Okay. So final score. Actually, I'm gonna stick with what I had last week. And it's not because I was lazy and didn't want to change it, but I do think it's not gonna be a blowout. I think the Ravens start separating themselves, start showing that they can handle bad teams throughout the AFC, and I'm going to go with a score of 27-17, and that would be a total of 44.
Well, that cough came up on me. Jeez whiz. All right.
That was a judgment on my prediction.
No, not at all. That was not like an Andy Bernard, like oh, your score's terrible. Like, that was not a Nard dog cough in the hand. No. Certainly that's a fair score. I think the Ravens will do a little bit better than that. But
okay,
DK, I appreciate you joining me tonight. Your in-depth insight and analysis. Glenn, I coined DK as the deepest thinker of 410 Sports Talk, as far as the team goes. I think that's a pretty fair comment. So we appreciate your analysis. Hopefully you don't get analysis by paralysis. Paralysis by analysis.
You flip it. It's okay, though.
See, not a very deep thinker. But DK, thank you so much, man. Have a great one.
Yeah, thanks for filling in.
I'll leave the show to your capable hands. Thank you very much for having me on.
Yeah, man. We'll talk soon, DK.
I'll see you guys. Yep.
See
ya. Dude.
Wow. Yeah. What's up?
So were you listening while you were driving or what?
No. I couldn't do it because it would make me sad. Look,
fair enough.
All I know is I don't know what was told, but I do know a couple things just by looking over.
You told him you became a Steelers fan.
Come on now. Blasphemy. Blasphemy.
No, I can't.
Never that. Absolutely not. But I'm looking over your notes here, and it looks like you guys touched on a lot of things. So I don't want to be on here too long because I know you guys have already been watching. One thing I will say is apparently your hair, Jimmy, is the most beloved member of the show. So don't sleep on. Look at you. Look at you. Looking clean out here. All right.
I'll take any love I can get because let me tell you what, people are about to. I was getting worried for the folks out there. Like, look, they were worried about you, Glenn.
Well, I'm glad I can.
If there's ever an APB out there for you, we know we got.
You got a good search party.
6,500 people that are out there looking for Glenn Martin.
Nice.
Right?
Well, it's good to know because I'm sure I could be squeezed into some place if somebody was looking to hide me. So I'm glad I have a good search party. But I wanted to just kind of quickly go over my thoughts on this game.
Yeah.
While you guys, I'm sure, covered a lot, so I'm just going to try and be as brief as I can. With this game, to me, I think this is one of the rare blowouts of the season for the Ravens. I know I told you, Jimmy, not to predict blowouts. This isn't the team that blows teams out like we did in 2019. This is the week that we see a beatdown. And the reason is it just seems like what they do well, like what they are poor at is the thing that you would need to be good at in order to expose this Ravens team. Like when you think about what this team has given up all year, the struggles have been the big play, right?
Now, hold on, Glenn. I want to read you something.
Okay.
I want to see if it gives you cause to pause.
Okay.
I mentioned this earlier. This was a note that I took that I think is worth mentioning.
Okay.
So the Ravens have given up 7 touchdowns of 40 yards or more this season, 4 of them on opening drives of a half. The Dolphins have been relatively solid on opening drives of the first and third quarter. So they got a guy like Jalen Waddle, maybe giving up a big play or two. Could that make that score? Well, I'm not predicting a loss. Does that maybe minimize that blowout that you're predicting?
No. No, it doesn't. And the reason is look, when Jalen Waddle came out, his whole thing was his speed and how he was going to be the next big play threat. Well, just
Deshaun Watson or Deshaun Jackson type.
Yeah, Will Fuller, one of those types. But it's just not how it is in reality. They don't throw the ball down the field. That offense is designed to dink and dunk. It's a dink and dunk offense. And so unless he's getting his yards after the catch, then he's limited in what he can do. So to me, it's not a big play team. This is a nickel and dime type team, and it hasn't worked against the Ravens. The thing that's worked is when you can beat them over the top or pop them for a long run. Now, this is a team that doesn't run the ball well at all. I think, if I'm not mistaken, if they're not dead last, they're in the 30s, which isn't good.
Yeah.
And then as far as big plays, the same can be said. This is not a big play team. So even though they may have some personnel that are big play,
they're dead last, by the way.
Yeah. So I just don't see how this team moves the ball enough to to even threaten the Ravens in this game. They don't run the ball well, and they don't play. They don't have a big play threat. So, unless the Ravens have a massive mental breakdown, which we have seen on occasion from the Ravens, I just don't see how this team pushes the ball down the field consistently. So, in my opinion, it's really going to have to be, they're going to have to play way outside their comfort zone and way above their head to even make this a game. I mean, defensively, they're horrible as well. I mean, they're bad
It's a bad football team.
Yeah, they don't get to the quarterback well. They only have, I believe, 17 sacks on the season. I'm pulling up their stats now, but if I remember correctly, they have a total of 17 sacks on the season. I mean, that's horrendous. So if you're not going to be able to get to the court, which is one area where teams have been able to kind of get to the Ravens, it's been able to sack
Lamar likes
the
to hold on to it.
Yeah, and this year, it's funny. This year, he's been sacked more times already this year than he was the entire 2019 season.
Right.
So this is definitely not the same offensive line that we're used to. But if you can't expose that offensive line with a decent pass rush, I mean, he's got time to sit back there, then he's gonna tear you apart. I mean, I think this is a game where we see big plays from the receiving core. We see a consistent run game, so you're gonna have a balanced attack offensively. And then on the opposite side, I just don't see how they threaten the Ravens moving the ball. They're going to get some first downs because they like to nickel and dime you, and they'll get some underneath routes because I'm sure the Ravens will allow it. And the only one area that they will be able to take advantage of if the Ravens' tackling issues resurface is going to be yak yards, because they give their opportunity to these guys to then turn short catches and turn them into long plays. They just haven't been able to do so this year. But if the Ravens' tackling woes resurface, that's the only way I can see them moving the ball down the field. It's just a tough matchup for the Dolphins. It's like what they do well isn't really the Achilles heel of the Ravens. So,
and they don't even do it that well. You know what I mean? Like,
even what they do well. I mean, can you find a singles category where they're top 10 on either side of the ball? I mean,
yeah, no. And then, so I have a, well, I'm going to give it away here, but I just realized this. Do you know what we're ranked? Did you already look at our offensive ranking from a rushing perspective?
We're first again, right?
First, right back in our rightful place. And
right back where we belong.
I mean, it's just crazy to think.
And second in total offense.
Yeah,
yards-wise. Exactly.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Chase Brown, I think DK will agree with you. DK's offensive breakout player of the game is Bateman, and I think he will be sorely wrong. But that's just me. And the other thing,
why do you think he's wrong? Just because you want him to be?
No, because I think Hollywood's gonna go nuts in this game. I think Sammy Watkins is coming back. I think even Nick Boyle could steal a target or two from Bateman. I just think there's gonna be the ball's gonna be spread around so much.
But all he's saying is that he gets his first touch.
Oh, I understand what Chase is saying, but I mean, as far as DK's point with him being his breakout offense player of the game, I think that that won't be the case. I think it will be Hollywood is my guy. But I understand what Chase is saying. You can have a touchdown and not be the breakout player of the game. So yes, I understand Chase's point. But and the other thing too, Glenn, I think the narrative that can be thrown out the window here before we get into our over-unders is the trap game. I've seen it a couple times by a couple of folks. I know they're worried about it. Quick turnaround. Things of that nature. But while it's a quick turnaround, we got a lot of guys playing in this game that didn't play in the other one, number one. Number two, this is our home away from home. Number three, Lamar Jackson and Hollywood Brown are going to have these guys tuned up and tuned in because they want to show up for their neighborhood, right? Like they want to show up for their friends, family, kids in the neighborhood like Lamar talked about. So I'm not worried about a trap game here. Do you have any concern there about a trap game in this instance?
None. I 100% agree with. And what's interesting too, if you dive a little deeper into the stats, Lamar Jackson is phenomenal in these short turnaround games. He shows out in these Thursday night games. I don't know what it is, why. I mean, I can't really tell you other than, the lack of practice time. It doesn't seem to bother him when it comes to these short turnaround games. I have a theory. Games. What's that?
So I think it's because it gives the other team, Lamar Jackson's already impossible to prepare for. On a short week, it gives them even less time to prepare for Lamar Jackson.
That's a good point.
So it just accentuates the uniqueness of Lamar Jackson's game. And then on top of that, Lamar Jackson absolutely loves to play football. Did you see the clip of him laughing?
Dude,
I thought giggling.
He is just, he's again, so lovable. I don't understand.
He's getting destroyed by these huge guys. And he's
like, I just love football. I don't care when we play.
He's giggling about it, dude. I was like,
It's amazing.
All right.
You get a lot of these stars, like, across all sports, like LeBron always talked about the back-to-backs and,
Yeah.
this and that. That's why I love Lamar. He's like, man, I love
I just wanna
football.
play.
So you're
Yeah.
telling me we get to play? Okay, I'll play. I'm ready. And again, to play in front of his hometown, I think you're right. Add some juice to the game. Add some. It kind of does a little bit to prevent that possible letdown game. I just don't see
Yeah.
it possible. I think you're right in the sense. I think both you and DK are right. I think Hollywood absolutely goes off, because if you don't think that the game matters just as much to him being in Florida as it does to Lamar, then you're crazy. And I think the coaches shown in that Denver game that they understand what matters to the team and matters to the players also matters to them and the coaches. So I think they'll use this as an opportunity to highlight those guys in this game. But I also agree with DK. I think both Bateman and Hollywood have big games. I think Bateman is just he is just a star in the making. And
He's too good
week,
not to get the ball to, right?
He's so good. I mean, that catch he made last week on third down when he was
snatch, right?
Yeah, he just snatched it out of the air. I think he is just going to be an absolute stud. And when it's all said and done, I think Hollywood and Bateman will be our number one and number two, however you want to classify them, for a long time. I think they're going to both be here for a long time. So they're going to definitely put on a show. So I tend to agree with both of you guys as far as the breakout players. But if you want me to quickly go through my over-unders, I'm prepared.
Yeah, because I haven't gone through mine yet.
Oh, good. You waited for me.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what, Jimbo? You are all right. You are a pretty good dude. I'll give you that. So cool.
I try my best. Yeah, so I figured we could go through them together. And just really quickly, Glenn, just want to say, we already talked about it before, how I'm going to make 5 G's off of the Ravens and symbol, and there's some serious money to be made. But
I'll tell you what. Are we?
We are up. Well, out of our teams, we are up on one team, and that is the Baltimore Ravens, making us some money. As you know, to me, the most consistent and best stock to buy in symbol in the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens. Yep. John Harbaugh is consistently competitive and a good team. The team.
I'll tell you what, if you're looking
Lamar Jackson,
and if you're looking across all sports, I know it's a high stock right now, but I think it's only going to rise is the Golden State Warriors. When they are already, in my opinion, the best team, and they're about to get Klay Thompson back, and forget about it once they get
him before they get him back.
No
so that
doubt.
way you get it before the spike. I'm just saying, I'm just going to give a little, I took Miami. I also bought in on the Miami Heat. That had a lot to do with you turning me onto the Miami Heat before they went to the finals, and I've been following them since then.
Yep.
And that stock has only been going up. They've been putting some wins together, and they're going to get healthy as well.
Watch out for Utah. I think Utah ends up being the number 1 seed in the West when it's all said and done, if it's not the Warriors. So, look, I mean, there's a lot of teams right now that you could get at a good value, and they're only going up.
Yep.
So, look, if you want to turn your money into more money, then look at Symbol. And just so everyone's clear, it's SIMBULL. Use promo code 410. But let's get into our over-unders. So I can see that you guys probably already went over these, so I'll just quickly say what we're doing. So it's the first over-under is going to be Rashad Bateman's receiving yards. DK said it at 52.5. Jimbo, what do you got? Over-under.
Yeah, I'm going here. I think I'll take advantage of DK's work here. I'm going under. Just like I said, I think Hollywood goes off. I think there's a few reasons why. Hollywood's going to go off. Sammy's coming back. Boyle even takes a reception or two from Bateman. Like, I just think there's so many people that are going to be in this passing game that I think Le'Veon even gets more involved as he continues to get more integrated into the offense. So I'm going under here. Biggest reason, Hollywood Brown going under.
Okay, and I'm going to go over. I think this is another step in the right direction for Bateman. I think he continues to expand his role in the offense. I think he gets about 75 yards and a touchdown in this game. And the main reason I'm going over is because you went under. All right, so passing plays of 20 plus. We set it at 4.5. Jimbo, what do you got? Over under?
Yeah, I'm going over here. I think Lamar Jackson is just going to look, anytime Lamar Jackson is having fun and smiling back there, you got problems. So I think Lamar Jackson is going to be loose, is going to have fun, and I think he's going to be whipping that football all over the field. I think that Hollywood Brown might have more than half of these. He might have 3 of these himself. And Mark's good for 2 of them. I think we pretty easily get over the 20-plus yard mark. Plus, they're just not good. I think that has a lot to do with it. Where are you going? I'm going over.
You swayed me.
Oh,
I'm
gee, I saw you touching the keyboard too.
You swayed me. You
Look
know
at
what?
you.
20 is just a little too low, and the reason is because I think we pop a run as well. I think they're poor against the run or the pass, and I think they pop a run, which is something we haven't seen a lot of unless it's been Lamar, of 20-plus yard runs. But I think there's one 20-plus yard run from one of the backs, probably Freeman if I had to put a name on it, and then I think there is 4 passing plays of 20 plus. If it was 25 or 30, I may have went under, but I'm going to go over as well, and just further secure my win this week again as the reigning and defending champion.
The 1 week champion.
But let's move. Look, Jimbo, I don't like to look too far into the past. I like to look at the now, and right now, as it currently stands, I am the champion. So defense, forced turnovers, set it at 1.5. What do you got? Over,
wait.
under?
Let me see if I can add this. Okay, here we go. Oh, I'm going over here. For sure. I'm going over. Isn't that what I wrote down as well? I just want to make sure. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm going over here. I think pretty easily whoever's at quarterback's gonna get picked off once and we'll make a guy fumble. I mean, I don't know how much more analytical I have to get than that. I think that will be the case. But yeah, I feel pretty good about this.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they're 30th in the league in turnovers. So chances are they're going to turn the ball over. And they average, I think, about a little over 2 right now a game. So to put it at 1.5, I think it's pretty easy of an over there. So I got over as well. Yeah, Iman, I threw away them chutes and ladders. This ain't no Candyland no more. Okay, this is some pinochle if y'all are familiar. Okay, this is some deep stuff here.
Isn't that a game you play a lot in prison?
And honestly, the only people I have ever met that know pinochle are either learned in prison or they, in my case, learned from someone who went to prison. So shout out to my pops who showed me. Yeah, so that's the only 2 ways is either, and everyone I played with is either from prison or learned from someone in prison. Yes,
but you came out alive on the other end. I mean, playing with those folks that have been to prison, right? Like,
well, yeah, I mean, I mean, you know a lot of them, Jimmy, so don't laugh too daggone hard, okay?
No, that's why it's funny to me because, like, it just makes it even funnier.
Look, you got to pass a lot of time in prison, and that's a long game. So, you learned that. And look, appreciate it, Lisa Ann. Team Glenn over here. # Team Glenn. Yeah, buddy. You see that, Jimbo?
I did. She's
That's
doubling
right.
down because I was giving her a hard time earlier about riding so hard for Glenn. So I think she's decided to double down.
Everyone loves the underdog, and I was the underdog. Now I'm like Rocky Balboa at the top. You know what I mean? I'm really.
But is this Rocky 3?
No, this is Rocky 2, baby. This is giving the old
night
version
of Rocky, huh?
That's right. That's it. You know it.
We'll see. We'll have to see. All right, let's go to the next one, Glenn. Oh wait, did we give did you?
Yeah, we did. I said over.
Okay.
It's a pretty easy one.
Yep. Yeah, so you're saying over? They're gonna. Oh, not the turnovers. I'm talking about this one, the completion.
Yeah, I also agree over, and the reason is because this is a dink and dunk team. I think this is one of those things where they'll have like a 70% completion percentage, but it'll be for such a minuscule amount of yards. I mean, they're a team that loves those little screen passes, those little hitch routes. They just love that stuff. So it gets easy completions. And then Jacoby Brissett's going to come in. He's a dump down type of guy. Tua will not push the ball down the field. I don't know if that's because his coordinator or head coach is making that the emphasis, the underneath routes, but I'm worried that he might be the next Tyrod Taylor and that just no matter what you say, he will not push the ball down the field. So I think they have a high completion percentage for low yardage. So I'm going to go over on this one.
Yeah, I'm going under. I just, there's really no other way to put it. I get your points, but they're just not good.
And my points?
No. Your points are good, but the team is not good.
Oh, you're like, I was like, damn, Jim.
No.
That stung a little bit the way you delivered it.
No, the Dolphins are not good. I think what will happen here is this will be a momentous game. So the offense is going to come out and start early, and then the defense is just going to lean all over them and just suffocate them. Is how I see this game going. So I think this leads to it being under 65.5. Now, you referenced this before, but total yards for the Ravens and Dolphins. Let's see if DK's got that one up there as well. He sure does because he is the best at this. All right, so Glenn, I'm going to give you mine. I'm going 760. I'm saying 280 yards for the Dolphins, 480 yards for the Ravens. Add that together, unless my math is wrong, you got 760. So that's what I'm going with this game. Where are you going, Glenn?
I prices righted the hell out of DK. He said 700, and I put down 701. So if it goes anywhere between 701 and I guess what am I like 731? I do have a relatively small window, I guess, in hindsight, because I'm thinking price is right, and that would mean if you go over, you lose. But actually, now that I rethink that, you wouldn't lose just because you went over. So this may backfire on me here, but I'm going to go 701 and really just try and prices right the both of you. But you know, we'll see how that one plays out. But let's jump into total score because
wait. I did get mine. My bad. Yeah. Go ahead. Total score. Apologies.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to recheck your math on that one because I'm not sure how you came up with 51 there, Jimbo, on your total score.
I just didn't change it. I didn't change it from last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, total score, like I said earlier, I'm finally going to predict a blowout, a beatdown, because it's just a good team playing against a poor team, a team that knows they're done, and a team that's fighting for the number 1 overall seed. Yep. And also, this is, if it's not, I mean, I get that it's not technically a home game, but it's going to feel like a home game. And so for all those reasons, I got a blowout. I got the Ravens winning 31-13. And I think it's close, relatively close for the first half. But then I think it gets ugly in the second half, and the Ravens just put a beat down on them. So I got a total score of 44, but the vast majority of that's coming from the Ravens side.
Yeah, fair enough. I appreciate you, first of all, wanting to talk me off a ledge, and then turning around and taking my take. Because unbeknownst to you, I said at the beginning of the show that Glenn has been telling me not to predict a blowout, but I'm predicting a blowout.
Dang it.
And the receipts are there. You can go back and check the tapes.
Okay.
My friend. So I'm predicting a blowout, even though I have been counseled not to do so. 38, 21, and 21 because I'm being generous. My original thought was 38-10, but our defense is not that great. Like, it's not like shut the door great. So I think we'll make enough mistakes to
give up 3 touchdowns, huh?
3 tutties.
Not 3 scores, 3 tutties.
Yeah, I think it will happen, but I think at the end of the day, our offense is going to be humming. And 38, also relatively generous. A lot of people are saying this is going to be Lamar's first Jackson 5 of the season. So we'll see. But 38-21 is my score. Total score of 59. I tell you what, Glenn, tonight was an unorthodox show, but it was a heck of a lot of fun.
Good.
I'm looking
I'll have to take your word for that one. I mean, I don't know. Well,
let us know, guys, if you had fun. Back me up here. Make me feel a little better, please. I think DK did a great job, though.
Good.
And I'm really looking forward to this game tomorrow night. Make sure you tune in for our instant reaction right after the game. We'll be here for you guys, even though it's a Thursday night. We'll talk to you guys soon. And
let me give some shout outs in the chat. Iman Thomas, appreciate you being so active in the chats. It definitely helps a lot when we see you guys participating. Tim Ott, appreciate you again. I still think I'm saying his name wrong. It's literally going to be years, and I'm going to be saying Tim's name. I
say the same thing, so
okay.
Tim, correct us again.
And I always say this, and yeah. Anyway, look, Jason Nation says it was a great show, so there you go.
Yeah, you got a few of them coming in.
Nick Solano, appreciate always showing us some support.
There we go. Now
Billy Seals, yes. Look at that. See, Jimbo, you guys didn't miss me. Let's see. Who else? J-Dub 45, appreciate you coming out. Lisa Ann, thanks for always supporting and pushing the Team Glenn. Hashtag Team Glenn. Let's get it.
Odie? Long E would be Odie, right? Odie.
Huh?
We're just going to call Ott.
Odie. Okay.
So we'll just call him Bodie.
Is it Odie or Odie? Is it long O, Tim? Is it a long O or a short O? Is it Odie?
Timmy boy.
I think it might be Odie. Fish Trainer, good night, bud. Edwin, always. Yeah, appreciate you being in here. I think we were like one of the first people to join the Facebook group he started. Navedo. Edwin Navedo. Okay, there we go. I'm working on it. I mean, it takes me a little bit.
That was good.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see. Anyone else? House, appreciate you coming out. Nuno Drago, probably saying that wrong. Appreciate you. Fabian, thank you. I appreciate you welcoming back. Wes Teasley, appreciate you commenting. Prince Quan, always in here. Thanks for showing the love and staying active in the chat. If I missed you, I do apologize. If you were a silent observer, appreciate you watching. And look, tomorrow night's going to come quick. We're going to have a boring Sunday with no Ravens, but we got a hell of a Thursday coming up tomorrow night. Make sure you join us for our post-game show. We always like seeing you guys in there, and we will talk soon.